Welcome everyone to the Flourishing Workplace podcast. My name is Connie and I am so thrilled to have Caleb coming at us all the way from London, England. Welcome, Caleb.
Thank you, Connie. It's good to be here virtually.
Yes, I mean, this is just amazing, this world that we live in, having conversations with people all over the world. And, you and I had a very fascinating conversation just a while ago. I left that conversation feeling so amped up about creating great places to work. And that's kind of what you do. Just maybe before we start, could you let everyone know a little bit about like what Work Bold is?
Well, Work Bold is the social media account and the name of the podcast that I host. But the brand and the company that I'm the founder of is called Bold. And what we do is we support and champion entrepreneurs and innovators. And one of the ways we do that is by providing workplace for them to innovate and create ideas and work with their teams when they need to.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And when we chatted, we were talking about this idea, of people, they're going back to the workplace. I actually heard somebody say, don't say we're going back to work. I've been working all year. I find that offensive.
Some of us even harder than ever.
Harder than ever. So, we're going back to the workplace, or some are. And some are really liking this idea of working remote, and some employers are like, no, I want you at the office. And so we were chatting about this, creating a compelling to come home, almost like if we were parents and our children have left home and we actually want them to visit us, creating that coming home vibe. Can we start there and chat a little bit about that?
I like the parents analogy, because if we think about, some of us don't want to go home and visit the parents and some of us love to. But I think if we talk about why we like to visit our parents or our family or our friends, it's a bit of nostalgia and feeling of, you're at home when you go home, is why you call it home. I live in London. I've been here 7 years. I have permanent residency, but and I feel home now finally. But when I go home, I go home, because that's where I feel the most comfortable. That's where I was raised. That's where I can be myself and feel like I fit in. Although these days, sometimes I feel like I don't, but that's another story.
Well, and I think that you've just brought up a real need we have as humans to feel understood, to feel like we fit in, to feel like we belong somewhere. And, maybe if somebody was experiencing a workplace that didn't allow for that, working from home has probably been amazing. And I've heard that there's anxiety about going back to work, not just because of COVID, but because of having to see people again and be around that environment again that they were protected from, really. And so I really like what you said there. Like, when you go home and it's a good place, it's a safe place, we want to be there. And so I would love to explore a little bit about place. Like, you work on physical places for business, but like what creates a really great place, in your opinion, Caleb, for people to come to?
Well, I think it's not specifically about the place. I mean, there's certain features, of course, that needs to be there that I'm not going to get into right now. But for me, and you talked about return to work, I question whether we should be using the term work. And because I imagine a world, and I would love to, maybe this sounds dreamy, but I'd love to see a world where people didn't go to work. They didn't, work for a boss or work for a company. They committed to a cause that they believed in. And then they associated and collaborated with like-minded people that were also trying to, achieve the mission of that cause. And so to me, what I think we need in workplace is a place. We need culture and community that will inspire us. And that's not four walls and a layout or desks. That's a lot softer than that. That's a feeling.
That is powerful. I like the idea. I'm with you. I would love to see the day when we maybe stop calling it work, but it's a cause, it's a passion, it's a purpose. it's a place
Absolutely.
where we matter. That's just really powerful. And to be honest, in my mental health work and resilience work, that is the number one thing that combats anxiety and depression, is this idea that I'm moving towards a purpose for my life, that I feel I matter, and the people around me, we matter, and the cause matters.
Can you imagine like a company being very transparent and authentic, and there are companies out there that do this, but being very transparent and authentic with what impact they're trying to make on the world, and then recruiting and attracting people and helping, telling people we're going to take care of you because you're helping us with this cause, and attracting people that wanted to support that mission. Then it's less about, 3% pay raise every year, and it's more about what impact did we feel like we made this past year.
Yes.
And Connie, for me, just personally, the past 10 or 15 years, that's been my world. So it's not like I'm making this up. And I feel like everybody should figure out how to align themselves with the right people working with them, or there's that word again, or, going to commit to a cause with a company that you feel passionate about.
Wouldn't that just make a huge difference? And are you seeing this? Are you seeing companies that work this way?
Yes. There, if you look at a lot of the fast-growing companies right out there today, the innovation companies, and this goes back to entrepreneurship, right? Because my personal passion is to support and champion entrepreneurs. So that's the cause I've committed to. And if you think about it, entrepreneurs and innovators are the ones who have made our life so much easier today over the centuries. And those companies that are innovating and trying to make an impact today, they're the ones who are leading the charge when it comes to return to work. They're rolling out hybrid policies or work from anywhere policies, but also providing places that people can go if they don't have a place at home that feels comfortable, or places they can go and create with other like-minded people. Those are the companies that we're seeing in the headlines announcing all of these policies, in my opinion.
That's really fascinating. I think it's amazing when you can see it happening, because then you can see what's possible. That's such an advantage. And I feel like, for anyone who wants to follow you, Caleb, on LinkedIn, the things that you post, the articles you post are just phenomenal. They opened my mind to, oh my goodness, that's possible. We could move there as a workplace. I think it's amazing. So just a little plug for you, Caleb.
Thank
Follow
you.
Caleb on LinkedIn.
Thank you for that.
I'm wondering, where did this passion for the workplace come from for you?
Well, it's just going to probably sound, I don't know, what's the word? Serendipitous, potentially. But I was moving from Georgia I wanted to move to Washington, D.C. for romantic reasons. and I put my resume online, my CV online, and I had Regis call me up and try to recruit me. And I was an entrepreneur then. I was in the beginning of learning my entrepreneurial passion. And when I started working for them on their management team in DC and started learning how they were supporting entrepreneurs, that's when I sort of got hooked into this industry. And then from there, I've just kind of been on this journey from DC to New York to London now. And it's just been a passion to support and champion entrepreneurs over the years.
And for you with this entrepreneur, because you're an entrepreneur.
I am, yes. It's my fourth company.
That's amazing. What's it been like for you?
I think most entrepreneurs will say it's the best and the worst of life because there's so many peaks and valleys, and there's more valleys than there are peaks, but you really do ride those peaks and enjoy them when they happen. But if we're, as an entrepreneur, you're committed to that cause, and you're sort of driven to solve problems. And when you do solve those problems, you feel accomplished, and it's that impact that you're making on the world that ends up driving you. And so when you wake up not feeling like you want to face the day, you still are committed to go. And then at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I did that. So it's, yeah, that's what it's like.
Yes. I am also a serial entrepreneur. I absolutely love entrepreneurship. And I love what you just said about it. You are cause related when you're an entrepreneur. You wake up with that burning desire to solve that problem. And I really wonder, I've wondered this for a while, that companies that are established or businesses that are established, these people, whoever started it, they were an entrepreneur. And maybe coming back to that place of, what problem did I wake up just burning to solve? Like, what brought me to create this business? What did I see out there in our world that just needed me and my solution? And then the people that I've brought in now to work with me. And I just kind of wonder what that would do for businesses that have been around for a while, that have maybe just gotten used to life is as we know it, even though I don't know anyone through COVID who might feel that, but they're just coming back to the cause again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important to always put your why are you in business at the center, and come back to that as often as possible, as a leadership team. And I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek and his Golden Circle, and his TED Talk, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, and really focusing in on the why. I think that's absolutely important. And I think the future is companies that are very authentic with what they're in business to do, and return to it often, and recruit based on that, and being authentic with the impact they're trying to make on the world. That is the future.
That's the future. Yes. Yes.
I
I,
hope
I,
so.
well, I hope so too. Well, and to be honest, the more people I talk to, the more I hear that. And those who maybe aren't thinking that way, well, they might find that the vortex is going to draw them in. It really is the way to go, especially in our online world. What are you noticing in business now that we can pretty much work from our phones and our computers? How has that impacted, say, your work with location?
Yeah, no, it's interesting that this pandemic has woken everyone up to the fact that we don't need to be in a specific place to be able to do our work or do our best work. As long as we have Wi-Fi, we can put our heads down, right? And I think, but that's been the case for, I don't know, 10 years maybe. I've been working remotely for at least a decade, 60% of my week. And so it only took a global pandemic for the whole world to realize that that's possible. So I think now, looking forward, in what the customers that we work with and the entrepreneurs that we support, is that we just did a survey of small businesses across the UK, and 53% said they want they want places to work from closer to home. So I think what we've seen now is that we don't have to get up at 5 a.m., get in traffic, or get on a train and commute, 1 hour, 2 hours into the office, when we can sleep later and still get work done. But not everybody has the great at-home work environment, depending on the stage of life you're in, or if you have flatmates or roommates or whatever it might be. So some people are now saying, well, yeah, but I don't want to go into the office 2 hours, but I don't want to work from home. So can I work closer to home? And so I think that, from a quality of life aspect, and as one of these big companies thinking about the well-being of their teams, that's becoming a focal point now.
Yes. Yeah, possibilities and being open to what could it look like. And I like how you mentioned quality of life. I do think that the busyness and the stress culture that we have lived in the past, we don't have to live there anymore. And I think that it's improving family life. I know for me, if I can be at home sometimes, or my kids appreciate that, especially in the summer, like, there's options. And I think that the quality of life is something to really look at, especially with mental health and where we are and what our busyness has done to us. I think that that's a really valid, just something to look at for sure.
Well, I think it's important to point out that you said options, and that comes back to choice. And I think now we have an abundance of choice. It used to be that we had to work into an office, and now we have choice not to. But we can't discount the fact that some people love it. Some people love the busyness, and some people thrive off of that environment. And they should have the choice to be able to do that. But equally, some people don't, and they should have the choice. And we should all be able to still work together as a society to improve the world and continue moving forward. But the choice is the key word.
Choice. Yes. Who doesn't love to have choice?
It's why we have so many crayons and so many ice cream flavors.
That's right. Oh, what I would give to be in Europe for some gelato. That's where I would like to be.
We need some gelato today. Do you do Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius, yeah.
Okay.
Canada.
It's like mid 20s, almost. It's probably in the 30s now today. So the train can't even hardly run. But I'm from South Georgia, where it's like this probably 3 months out of the summer, and so I'm used to it. But I got a weather app said that there'd be disruptions because of extreme heat, and I just had to chuckle to myself. But gelato would absolutely be good today.
Gelato in London, who's experiencing a heat wave, which is just odd. That's amazing. Well, Caleb, thank you for the conversation, the rich conversation today. It's just been so amazing. And I would really encourage anyone who's a mover, a shaker, an innovator to follow Caleb, because you're doing cool things.
Thank you, Connie. I really appreciate you inviting me to come on here. I love what you're doing. So keep it up, and thanks again.
Oh, thanks.